Dr. Sharitta Gross, I want to begin with gratitude. I want to thank you so much for bringing the My Retreat app to your recent presentation where you were speaking and including chocolate, because of course, that's my favorite part of chocolate mindfulness. Thank you, thank you, thank you for speaking about my brand, my company in front of a room full of powerful people when I wasn't in the room. That means so, so much to me.
You're very welcome. I appreciate you for being willing to put together a meditation, 5 minute meditation to start off a topic that for some people can be a little bit dry, a little uncomfortable, and that topic is mediation. So we had some meditation before we talked about mediation, coupled with some chocolates from Harlem Chocolate Factory. So thank you for putting me onto that too.
Oh yeah, women-owned company. They're about to be in the JFK airport. So if you see
Oh,
them there, you'll know. You'll know who they
nice.
are already. Yes, yes. I also want to dive right in and say how excited I am for you to be joining us at the December 14th through 19th Chocolate Mindfulness Retreat in the Cayman Islands as one of our speakers. So you'll be joining us for a mastermind presentation as you did earlier this year, virtually. And I would love for you to share a little bit more about the magic that you bring to our masterminds.
Absolutely. So, what I typically have talked about, well, what I did earlier this year is we talked about turning pain into purpose. And what I like about what you're doing, Melissa, I want to just pause and say this is that as women, as executives who are in the workspace, this retreat is wonderful in that it's really requiring and encouraging women to turn inward and really think about themselves in a way that sometimes we don't because we're like this. We are moving all the time. And so this retreat is encouraging you to slow down and kind of take a step back and think about, how am I feeling? What do I need? Where can I pause and do some self-care? And so it's more than just going to the beautiful Grand Cayman Islands. It's really an opportunity to self-care and really go inward and identify those gaps of what you might need that you don't look at every day because we're so busy multitasking and taking care of others and other tasks. And so to that end, what my topic is it focuses on how to turn pain into purpose. And pain points can come in different forms, right? It can come in the form of you're overcommitting yourself in the community. And some people say, well, that's not a bad thing, right? You're a servant leader. After all, you should be committing to this, that, and the third. But really, it's about taking a step back and really looking at managing your time and your energy as appropriate. And thinking about also how to best address those things that you have to step back from while not having guilt. Because guilt sometimes will keep us doing things that we shouldn't be doing that will rob us of joy and rob us of the opportunity to evolve other things like a side business or time with loved ones. So we talk about those kinds of things and we also talk about relationships. Sometimes relationships that we're in are unhealthy and we have to figure out how to remove ourselves from them and or the part that we might play in them. Relationships can become unhealthy if you're not being communicative about what your expectations are or what your needs are, or you might be harboring an offense, right? So we talk through those things in a very safe, open space. And I even encourage attendees in the last session to help each other because there is so much knowledge and power in the room. Um, and I think the other thing that we want to talk about, or hopefully we'll talk about this session, is the importance of how things are really relational. Our success is relational. Um, and you and I were just talking about this, Melissa, and how relationships are so important and ways that we can not just support, ourselves or support each other in this retreat, but outside of it, and how we can continue that feeling of empowerment within ourselves and to and for each other. So, for example, it could be something as simple as engaging with a LinkedIn post Or it could be inviting somebody into the room that's not present by mentioning their name, like saying, hey, Melissa's really good at retreats, and her retreats, by the way, they involve chocolate. Or like I'm doing in October of this year, inviting you to be a guest at my table for the YWCA of Rochester and Monroe County annual luncheon. So those are some of the things that we are going to talk about, but it's really an opportunity to go inward, to identify your needs, and to really get some solutions to those things that you might consider to be a pain point, be it professional or personal.
Yes, yes, yes. And the bold boundaries, that's the theme for this December retreat in the Cayman Islands. The idea that you set a boundary, but then life starts lifing, right? Things happen. You might
Right.
forget about it. You might bend. You might create another boundary that actually conflicts with the one that you originally intended to uphold. And so it's truly a time for us to pause and go through that reflection and introspection process to be able to identify the bold boundaries that we currently have, the ones that we aspire to have, and maybe the ones that we don't need to have anymore. Perhaps, it doesn't need to at least to be at the forefront or the main objective at this season or at this time in our lives. So I am beyond excited for you to join us. And our three pillars for the Chocolate Mindfulness Retreat in Grand Cayman are connection, play, and rest. So that connection piece you've already touched on, this idea that just because you send an invitation to someone on social media, for instance, right, to connect, that doesn't truly mean that you have a, just add water relationship, right? It doesn't mean that you all of a sudden, because you've read a couple of posts, know everything there is to know about this person, or that you can call them up like I called you up, right? And we call each other up and say, hey, do you have a minute? You're always super gracious about it and ask with a text first, right? And I reciprocate. And I think that that's something that's so beautiful about our friendship, our relationship, and about the connection that we have, that it's built over time. And for me, it feels like we've known each other for decades. I know that that hasn't been the case, but because of the way that you show up, because of the way that you walk through this world in your business, and also bringing in, personal perspectives, personal experiences into the mix, because we are human first, professionals second. I truly value our relationship, our friendship, and our collaborations. And I definitely put bold boundaries around that for when people say, hey, can I pick your brain, right? Hey,
Mm. Mhm.
that one in particular. I personally have made a bold boundary. I've made multiple this year, uh, which are working out really well, but they were inspired by the retreat in Grand Cayman this December. One of them is when people ask me that question, do you have time for me to pick your brain? My response is, there's in the My Retreat app, there's a Wednesday session. It's 20 minutes. It's open to anyone who wants to show up. It's free. We do a meditation. You reward yourself with chocolate and then pick away, right? Ask me anything.
Mm.
But there's a time, there's a place, and there's an intention behind it. So I don't feel
Right.
drained or burned out. And I'm really proud of never having burned out and wanting to continue on that path by, number one, carving out specific time with a specific intention for people to do just that, what they asked me to do, right? Pick my brain. But also to always take something off my plate before I put something on my plate. And I I appreciate that the women who have come to this retreat previously and the ones who are planning on coming with us either this December or next March, that they do that same process in order to take 6 days off from being a leader in the traditional sense, from being right in the office or at home, caring for whoever it is that we're caring for in our lives, that we have to take something off of our plate to put the Chocolate Mindfulness Retreat in Grand Cayman on it. And I'm incredibly, incredibly grateful for all the ways that I see women executives doing this and doing it for themselves so that they can then pour into others.
I agree. And I think that one of the things you said that I'm excited about for the women to experience is that you said that one of the or two of the three pillars is rest and play. And so here's the thing about rest and play. Play is a form of rest because you are actually taking the time to relax your brain and engage in things that you actually want to do or do nothing at all.
Right.
And I learned this concept when I was at an event for a local organization here in Atlanta called Chief, and they had a panel on Black women and rest. That wasn't the exact title, but it was around that topic. And when someone said that, it was profound. It was like, we don't necessarily see it that way. And so I encourage women who are considering this retreat to not think of it as I'm just going to Grand Cayman for a vacation or to just to rest for a little bit. Because sometimes when we think about that, think about getting rest, we sometimes play the need for rest down. And as we've gotten older, we play down the need for play. When play is where we spike creativity and we restore ourselves. So it's an opportunity for you to do two things. You're getting a twofer by going to this retreat. You're also going to be able to restore yourself by rest and with play. Some new ideas might surface, or some old ideas might say, hey, remember me. So it's really an opportunity for you to rest and play, which are actually close cousins. So.
Yes. Well, let me pause and just say that, by the way, we can introduce who we are, what we do, and then we'll close with some closing remarks. What you just said, I absolutely want to piggyback on. But first, tell them who you are.
I am Dr. Sharitta Kittles, also known as Gross. I'm a newlywed, so I got married in January. And one of the things you talked about, Melissa, before I go forward is about our sisterhood. And I just really appreciate that we had some collaboration that we were doing and we had to move the date because of my wedding date. And I really appreciate that space that you held for me and that you continue to hold for me. So I am the founder and CEO of Ella Consulting. And what I do is I work with leaders to induce positive change into the workspace and workplace, whichever term you prefer. It's the how that gets customized. So for some organizations, I'm helping them to refine and carry out an orientation program like the day one, or look at creating continuity as it relates to onboarding practices in their organization. For others, I'm doing customized sessions on topics ranging from workplace conflict to mediation to leadership and legacy, which essentially is succession planning. I also do one-on-one executive coaching and small group coaching too. So those are some of the things that I do, but I love my work and I'm really grateful that I still have the opportunity to carry that work out, especially in today's unfortunate climate where a lot of consultants are facing contracts that are being rescinded and things of that nature. So I continue to be able to educate and engage employees and their leaders.
Beautiful, beautiful. I learned something new about you as well, that focus on the legacy and leadership. So we're gonna have another
Okay,
conversation. So real soon.
I'm here for the collaboration. Let's go.
Yes. So for me, I'm Melissa Mueller-Douglas. I'm the CEO of My Retreat. I help companies with team building using chocolate, not trust falls. And I host executive women in the Cayman Islands for our chocolate mindfulness retreat at the Black Urchin Resort, which is women-owned, women-led, and where my family calls home. So I have this great opportunity to not only bring people to the island, but have a bold boundary of coming early and staying later to spend time with my loved ones, with my siblings, my dad, my aunts and uncles and cousins. And so I'm beyond excited to share with anyone who's interested to join us, but with a caveat. So you mentioned this idea of connection, true, genuine, authentic connection, and that's
Hmm.
one of the pillars. And there are two things that I want to say about this. The first is the way that we help to get people to feel connected before we even step foot on the island is through a meet and greet, right? So virtually all of the executive women who gather at the Black Urchin Resort for this retreat get to meet each other right on Zoom. And they're not sharing what they do, they're sharing about who they are. And that is very intentional. It's important, of course, for people to know what you do. And it's sometimes evolving, like case in point, right? What I just shared. So you do want that space and that time to share what you do. However, people connect best and most authentically with people sharing who they are and how they relax best and sharing a story about what makes them tick, right? What gets them passionate about life. And and to find out about what they do, we send out gifts from every single one of our mastermind speaker participants so that everybody receives a product or service from our mastermind speakers who are there in person with us. And that's an opportunity for people to get to know what the speakers do, what they do professionally, right? And then once they get to know the products or service, then they get to know the person, and then we step foot on the island. And that's a part of our secret sauce that time and again we've heard is really impactful for getting to develop true relationships. And we know that sales is all about relationships, right? So there's silver linings, there's next steps that are happening even after the retreat when women come home and stay in touch and come to our quarterly reunions. There are business deals and referrals and all sorts of things that are happening afterwards. But when somebody comes to me, and this is the main point that I wanted to share, when somebody comes to me and says, hey, I want to come to this chocolate mindfulness retreat in the Cayman Islands. I know that the cost is $10,000 to come. I want to make sure that I get back at least 10,000 or more. That gives me pause. And that tells me that the mindset that's in the room, right, present in that conversation is first about finances, right? First about how much money can I make from this interaction or this experience. And that people can see through, right? People can see if you're at a networking event, if you are in a, alumni group or whatever the case may be, a retreat, if you're there looking to check off a box and looking at people as dollar signs. And those aren't relationships that last, or even are the relationships that I want to be a part of curating and customizing experiences for. Is revenue sexy? Absolutely, yes. And I will do everything in my power to speak about our mastermind speakers in rooms when they're not there, right? And refer our mastermind speakers. But if the number one goal of coming to the Grand Cayman Chocolate Mindfulness Retreat is to make back the amount of money that a person spends and some, that's not the point of connecting first, then playing, then resting. Now, perhaps the fourth step, right, is the money piece. And I think that's a beautiful thing. But we need and we encourage and invite and create this experience for executive women who truly want to connect in an authentic way with peers who are doing phenomenal things, receiving incredible awards, and are great human beings.
I think it's wonderful that you present an opportunity for these women to meet each other before they go to Grand Cayman, because for someone who's an ambivert like me, um, who left to their own devices is an introvert, believe it or not, you can be an introvert and be a consultant and still be social and like to socialize. And people sometimes make the mistake of thinking that introvert means antisocial and things of that nature. One of my other specialties is I'm MBTI certified. And so I love talking about personality types. So I won't go down the rabbit hole, but I will say this. It's not about whether or not somebody's social, it's about energy exchange. So somebody who's introverted, they get their energy from smaller gatherings and more intimate conversations. And so when they present at a conference, they have to go somewhere and recharge. That might look like a nap. It might look like a beverage of choice. It might look like talking to their favorite person one on one. Somebody who's extroverted gets energized from those kinds of interactions. And so they might talk a lot. They may actually enjoy going from one event to the next and can do a lot of that in a 24-hour period, where an introvert has a cap. I say all that to say this, that if you are introverted or an ambivert like me, where you can turn on your extrovertedness in certain situations, this retreat is great for that from the gate because it's giving you an opportunity to do an icebreaker without you having to wear a name tag, without you having to hype yourself up like you're in the WNBA, like I gotta go meet these people. I gotta get ready to shine and smile and not be uncomfortable. Melissa's giving an opportunity for you to get to meet these women ahead of time. And the other beautiful part is you can start to build rapport immediately because then the opportunity and the onus becomes on you to connect with them on LinkedIn or otherwise and start to talk to each other so that you can really have a unique but productive experience while you're there. So I love that part.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for rounding us out here today. I look forward to seeing you on screen at the Black Ridge Resort in the Cayman Islands this December 14th through 19th. And for those who have made it this far in the conversation, I thank you for sticking with us, for hearing the joy that we bring to our work and also the very strong intentionality and bold boundaries that we not only talk about but live through, and we get an opportunity to collaborate and share through this experience. So until next time, Dr. Kittles, take good care.
Bye.